eyes. Normally the two eyes are looking at one target. They are looking at one target. They are straight. Both are acting in coordination. But in Sukit, there is misalignment of the eyes. So we have the control of the eye movement is by extraocular muscles. So we have so many muscles in the eye. There are different classes of muscles. One is voluntary and other is involuntary. One is voluntary and other are involuntary. Involuntary means which are not under our control. What are the names of the muscles which are not under our control? Smooth muscles in the ciliary body, like the sphincter pupilla, then the dilated pupilla, then the ciliary body muscle. Okay, these are the three involuntary muscles. And even the dorsal, lower dorsal, and upper dorsal, they are called involuntary. Then the eye movement, which are the voluntary muscles, there are four recti. There are four recti. How many? Four recti, two obliques. And there is one more muscle that's called LPS. That is levator palpebral sphere. Very good. So these six muscles, not six, seven muscles are important. Next. So the origin of four recti. How many? Four recti. Remember, four recti muscles only. The origin is from the tendinous ring. Annulus ring of Zinc. Why is this annulus ring of Zinc exactly? It is at the orbital apex. It is at the orbital apex. It is part of the superior orbital fissure. It is a part of superior orbital fissure. That is important to remember. It is part of the superior orbital fissure. Around this ring, you can see this is the ring. This is the ring. You understand? So we get the superior rectus. This is the superior rectus. This is the inferior rectus. Okay. This is the lateral rectus cut. This is the cut lateral rectus. And on that is the medial rectus. And most superior is the superior oblique. And above that is the LPS. Above that is the LPS. This is the above the superior rectus muscle. So these are the this is the trochlea, the superior rectus, medial rectus, lateral rectus, inferior rectus, this inferior oblique. So, origin-wise you don't have any problem. Four recti arise from the annulus ring of Zinc. Just hear the origin. Simple. Any rectus, mention its origin, annulus of Zinc. See? Tendinous ring or annulus of Zinc. That's all. Somebody asks you why it is, tell me it is in the orbital apex. It is in the orbital apex and is the part of superior orbital fissure. And in the same ring, there is optic nerve also coming out. There is optic nerve. Within the annulus of Zinc is the optic nerve. Is the optic nerve. Is the optic? No. Fast. Is the optic? No. So the insertion is of the four recti, I will tell you. Superior rectus is inserted superiorly, and the lateral rectus is inserted laterally on the sigmoid, inferior rectus inferiorly, and medial rectus is medially. But there is a distance. There is a problem with the distance. How much distance from the limbs? That you have to remember. So normally you start with the medial rectus. That's 5.5 mm. How many? 5.5. And inferior rectus, that's 6.5 mm. 5.5, 6.5, and lateral is 6.9. How much? 6.9. Near 7, but not exact 7. 6.9. And superior rectus is the farthest from the limbus. That is 7.7. You understand? These are the four levels of insertion. So medial rectus is the most near to the limbus, and superior rectus is the farthest from the limbus. So this forms a ring. It forms a helix. It forms a helix. located anteriorly, then this is slightly farther, this is farther, this is superior, this is little farther. This is called helix of, sorry, this is called helix of Tilex. Helix of Tilex. H-E-L-X is the helix. Tilex is T-I-L-L-A-U-S. This is called helix of Tilex. So origin insertion of the four recti, I have told you, these are the relative dimension. These are the relative dimension. Suppose this is the medial rectus is 5.5. How much? 5.5. The inferior rectus is around 6.5. Lateral is 6.9, and superior is 7.7. This is numerical in this slim. What is slim? Slim is the rule, and superior is farthest, and medial rectus is the nearest. So you can remember by this formula, slim. Next. So origin I have told, okay? Origin I have told, this is the optic nerve here, okay? This is the optic nerve, and these are the four recti muscles around it. Next. So again the same inserts I have told you where they are inserted. Next. Now we come straight away to the superior oblique. We will come to the superior oblique. So I have two topics, muscles and adaptations. So I am covering quickly. One thing to remember, the optic nerve is in connection with the medial rectus sheath and superior rectus sheath. Okay? You understand? This optic nerve, which is in the center here, okay? This is in connection with superior rectus, this sheath, dural sheath, is connection with superior rectus and medial rectus. So there is an inflammation of the optic nerve. What happens in optic neuritis? It can cause painful eye movements, especially superior and medial. Okay? So optic neuritis, you can have pain, superior and medial. One more thing is important here, that there is a connection. There is a connection between the superior rectus and the LPs. Between the superior rectus and LPs. Why you look up, the lid goes up automatically. You understand? What is the connection? The facial sheath of the two muscles are connected. You understand? So there is simultaneous stimulation of LPs versus the superior rectus is stimulated. That's why you have to look up, the lid goes first up, then I will go up. Otherwise, the lid will remain at its full position. We cannot see the action of superior rectus. We can't see eye going up. So, superior oblique is the one more important is one more point, don't forget it, is the four recti are inserted. Four recti are inserted in front of the equator. They are in front of the equator. This is clinical significance. While the obliques are inserted behind the equator. They are behind the equator. So recti are inserted in front of the equator and obliques are inserted behind the equator. So it has an action problem. It has a correlation with the action. Anything which acts on the anterior, suppose it will contract, it will move the eyeball up. Superior rectus, it will move the eyeball up. Inferior rectus, it will move the eyeball up. So suppose superior oblique or inferior oblique, they are inserted behind the equator. So if they will pull the posterior part of the eyeball up, the action will be reversed. So superior oblique, it will pull up the posterior part of the sphere up. So anterior part of the sphere will go down. So it is a reverse action. Recti has direct action. Okay? One more point I will tell you is recti has been derived from a Latin word which means direct. So their origin of insertion is direct. They are not oblique, like oblique. You understand? Recti means direct. Oblique, you know, oblique means oblique. Now I come to the superior oblique muscle. Superior oblique muscle is originated. It is also originated not from the tenderness of Zinn, but superior and nasal. Superior and nasal to the tenderness of ring. from the periosteum, of the sphenoid or whatever bone, but it is the superior nasal. From there it moves forward medially, and it goes to the supromedial part of the angle of the orbit, where there is a junction of orbital roof and the medial wall. Medial wall and orbital roof junction. Supromedially, there is a pulley. What is the pulley called? Trochlea. That's called trochlea. And then from that trochlea, that is considered to be the functional origin. Though it comes from the apex of the orbit, but the functional origin is at the pulley. And from that pulley, it will go back. It will insert it into the posterior part of the sclera superior. So this is you can see here. This diagram shows that the superior oblique comes from here. Here it is at the supromedial angle. It goes to the trochlea with the cartilotendinous ring. From that it goes behind. And is inserted here. Below the superior rectus. Superior rectus is one. It goes below it. So remember here, it goes below it. The distance here is around 3 mm from here and about 13 mm posterior. In front, distance between the superior rectus origin insertion and the superior oblique insertion, it is around 3 mm here. How much? 3 mm anteriorly. And posteriorly up to this to this, it is around 13 mm. Okay? If we calculate from the limbus, it will be more. Because around 8 mm is superior rectus plus 3. That is around 12 to 13 will be the anterior part. And posterior part of the superior oblique will be around 19 to 20 mm from the limbus. This is very important because once we are dissecting the muscles, you should know the exact distance from the limbus. What measurements I have told you, so they are not gospel truth. Every individual has such variation. Every individual something has slightly more, some can have slightly less. There is a variation in the population. But by and large, the average is this. Next. So this is the origin. That's called the. Sorry. You continue. No. Take. Now we come to the inferior oblique. Inferior oblique arises from the orbital floor. It arises from the orbital floor, from the orbital surface of maxilla, lateral to the lacrimal groove. Okay? So it comes anterior. It comes anteriorly, then it goes posteriorly, behind the equator, like this. It arises from here, then it goes posteriorly, comes here. Okay? So the distance between the lateral rectus and the inferior oblique is around 10 mm in front, and posteriorly it will be very more. It will be around 20 mm almost. But the important thing to remember is those posterior fibers, they are in association with the macula. They are near to the macula. 1 mm in front and below the macula. So while dissecting this muscle or suturing, you should be careful here. If the needle goes down, it pierces the sclera or it damages the macula, vision is gone for life. So you have to be very careful while dissecting this inferior oblique. So just I told you, the insertion is 10 mm behind the lateral rectus insertion and 1 mm below and in front of the fovea. Okay? So you have to remember inferior oblique is inserted near to the macula or fovea. Next. Then the blood supply, these are the medial and lateral muscular arteries which are branched of the ophthalmic artery. Okay? So medial muscular artery gives branch to the medial rectus, inferior oblique, and the lateral from lateral rectus, superior oblique and alveolus. Next. So the blood supply you have to remember, there are two branches going to each superior rectus except the lateral rectus. Except the lateral rectus. Lateral rectus goes only one. It goes only one. It goes one, here it goes one, but two and two. Superior, medial and inferior. Because this is very important. This is very important. And after they come out of the muscles, they become anterior ciliary arteries. They become anterior ciliary arteries, which anastomose with the posterior ciliary arteries. And they form a major arterial circle at the root of the ciliary body or at the root of the iris. Major arterial circle. What is the function of major arterial circle? It supplies. It supplies. So the rule of the thumb is you don't have to operate at more than 2 recta, because that can cause the ischemia in the anterior part of the eye. Okay. So 2 recta at the most. At the most, not more than 2 recta. So because it can cause ischemia, and ischemia, you know what can cause that, cause ischemic type of necrosis. You can have a major damage to the eye because of that. So 2 superiorly, 2 inferiorly, 2 medially and 1 laterally. These are the 7 branches. But the long ciliary arteries, they are only on the horizontal plane. They are not on the vertical plane. So there is more chance of ischemia with the superior rectus and inferior rectus cutting. Okay? Because the long ciliary arteries are only on the horizontal plane, not on the vertical plane. Next. So the nerve supply we know, you have to remember 2 muscles, superior oblique and lateral rectus, LR6. So lateral rectus is supplied by the abducens nerve and superior oblique is supplied by the trochlear nerve, and rest of the muscles are supplied by the oculomotor nerve. Okay? In that, the superior rectus, next. So these are the nerve distribution. The oculomotor has 2 divisions, superior division and inferior division. Superior division supplies the superior rectus and alveolus, superior rectus and alveolus, and inferior rectus, the inferior division will supply the inferior rectus, inferior oblique and medial rectus. Finish? So remember SO4, LR6, the next 3rd degree. This will avoid you from a major blunder. Okay? Remember this canonical SO4, LR6. Next. So now there are 3 axes. There are 3 actions of the muscles. There are 3 axes. One is the vertical. Normally what we call the y-axis. So around the y-axis you will have lateral movements. What's called? Abduction and adduction. Okay? Then we have the horizontal movement, that's the x-axis. We have the elevation and the depression. Okay? Then we have the anterior-posterior axis, AP, going to the center of the pupil, center of the cornea. We can have a rotational movement, intorsion and extorsion. Okay? Intorsion and extorsion. So this is the intorsion, that's the AP, along the AP axis. And this is the abduction and adduction along the y-axis. Next.
Elevation.
Okay, then the horizontal axis, you know, it will tell about the elevation and depression. Huh? I have told these all things. Now you go ahead. So now you have to understand the action of the muscle. This is very confusing. Even at our level, sometimes it confuses us only. How to remember? How to remember it? I will tell you some things. One is that you have to have an idea of the muscle action. You have to have some idea of the muscle action. Number 2 is that you should know whether the muscle acting anterior to the inserted anterior to the equator or posterior to the equator. That I told you how does it affect the action. write four things I will tell you, I think the confusion will be over. The superior or intolerance. Superior or intolerance. Superior or intolerance. Superior or intolerance. That means which? Superior rectus and superior oblique. Superiors of intolerance, inferiors of extraoculars. That means inferior rectus and inferior oblique. They are extraoculars. Superior or intolerance, inferiors or extraoculars. Okay, so numerical, these are numerical level. The recti are adductors. Recti are adductors. Recti are adductors. And obliques are abductors. Recti, they push the globe inside towards the canthus, medial canthus, adduction. And the obliques are abductors. You can remember like this. Oblique means OB. Abductor is also AB. You understand? So D is the recti. You can remember D. That's the sound like we can say the rad. One of the unit of the like a CP unit or whatever, some MRI unit like that. Rad is some, I think. Huh? What unit of work? Radiation. Rad is the unit of radiation. So recti are adductors and obliques are abductors. So now you have to remember two things. The medial and lateral rectus. Medial and lateral rectus. They have simple action. They have simple action. So medial rectus adduction and lateral rectus abduction. So they have no version. So the rectus, superior rectus, inferior rectus, superior oblique and inferior oblique, they are called cyclovertical. They are called cyclovertical. They have double action. They have double action. They cause both. They cause depression. They cause elevation. Depression and elevation will be one. Then the extortion will be two. Okay. Number third is the abduction and adduction. So you have to remember these things. The important thing here is the primary action. Primary action means one's eyes are straight. One's eyes are straight. So rectal की जो action है, that's elevation and depression. Okay? The obliques की action, what is the action of oblique? That's intorsion or extorsion. This is the primary action. This is the primary action. So you can remember this. Rest I have to hold it the numerical. The inferior rectus will cause depression. That's the primary action. Okay? Then the extorsion, that will be the secondary action. Abduction, adduction is the tertiary. Okay? So inferior rectus will cause depression, extorsion and adduction. Now I will explain how. Inferior rectus is down. That will cause depression. Simple. I told you that inferiors are extorters. So secondary action will be extortion. I told you recti are adductors. So it will be adduction. Same thing you can remember here. Superior rectus is elevation, superior rectus is elevation, intorsion, because I told you superior are intorters, and the adduction, because recti are adductors. Then the inferior oblique, I told you, they have inferior oblique, inferiors are extorters, so they call extorsion. They call extorsion. Then I told you inferior oblique will be secondary elevation, because it is attached posterior to the equator, so it will have reverse action. So superior, inferior will cause elevation and superior will cause depression. Obliques will have reverse action. So inferior oblique is extorsion, elevation, and abduction. I told you obliques cause abduction. Same as superior oblique is called intorsion, depression, and adduction. If anybody has confusion, he can tell me right now. Otherwise, this will be a lifelong confusion for you. You understand? You have to clear it right now. Superiors are intorters, inferiors are extorters, recti are adductors, and obliques are abductors. You have to remember these four things. Okay, if you are clear about these four things, then you can tell me action. And you have to remember that primary action of recti is elevation and depression, and primary action of obliques is intorsion and extorsion. Okay? Anybody have confusion? Or is it clear? Okay. Should I go ahead? Okay. Okay, keep this. Keep this. So here is the suppose superior oblique muscle, superior rectus muscle. Which muscle? Superior rectus muscle. Superior rectus muscle has an angle of 23 degrees. How much? 23 degrees. Now if eyeball will rotate laterally, it will act as an elevator. Okay? So lateral in abduction it will act as an elevator. Same is true about inferior rectus. If we move laterally, it will act as a depressor. Next. Now I tell you something about this superior oblique action. These anterior fibers, suppose these anterior fibers, these are anterior fibers, these are posterior fibers. Anterior fibers, they are intorters. Once they will pull, they will rotate the eyeball in. Suppose these posterior fibers, if they contract, they will depress the eye. So anterior fibers intort the eye, posterior fibers depress the eye. Same is true about the inferior oblique. Next. Suppose inferior oblique, the fibers go to almost to the medulla. Anterior fibers will be extorters. They will rotate the eyeball out. And the posterior fibers will be the elevators, because they will pull the posterior globe of the down and anterior part of the globe will go up. I think I have made my point. Or if somebody has not understood it properly, he can tell me or she can tell me. So these are the 6 cardinal positions of the gaze. Suppose we see right here, up and out. This is superior rectus. This is superior rectus. This is superior rectus. This is inferior rectus. Okay, don't be this. Then, if I close the eye, one eye, now I see here. This is depression. So please, this is superior. This is superior rectus. This is superior oblique. Did you understand? It's the opposite. Superior rectus and superior oblique. This is inferior oblique. Okay. This is inferior rectus and this is superior. Okay, opposite. So this is superior rectus and superior oblique. This is inferior rectus and superior oblique. If the eye is going like this, up. We are checking the inferior oblique object. We are checking the inferior oblique. We don't check torsions normally. In terms of torsions, we don't check. We check in terms of elevation and depression. Next. Baki, you know this. This is lateral rectus, this side, okay, and medial rectus of this side. That's clear. Next. So these are the cardinal positions. These are 9. How many? 9. 1, 2. This is primary, this is depression, this is elevation. 3 here, 3 here. Okay. 6 and 3 on this side. Okay. So this is the primary straight eyes. This is the elevation. This will check the superior rectus. This is depression. This will check the inferior rectus. Then this is the elevation. This, because this is on the right side, is called dextro elevation. It's called dextro elevation. Because this is on the right side, depression is called dextro depression. So if we check the dextro elevation, this will be superior rectus. This will be superior rectus, but this will be inferior. Superior rectus of right eye and inferior oblique of left. Okay. So this will be lateral rectus of right eye, medial rectus of left eye. This will be the inferior rectus of right eye and superior oblique of left eye. Now we have the levo elevation, levo depression, and this is version, levo version. So levo elevation will be the inferior oblique of right eye and superior rectus of the left eye. Same true here. This will will be the inferior rectus of left eye and superior oblique of right eye. And this will be lateral rectus of left eye and medial rectus of right eye. Okay? So here you have to remember this elevation and depression. What goes towards the nasal, that's the oblique. That's the oblique. Suppose here this is nasal movement. Okay? Nose ke nazdeek hai. This is elevation, so it is inferior. So here this is the nasal but down. Nasal but down. This is the superior. So I have cleared these all cardinal positions. Next. So again it's showing the same thing. There are two terms, ductions and versions. There are two things, ductions and versions. Versions means binocular eye movements. Versions means binocular eye movements. Ductions means union. Once we close the one eye, we get the one eye. That's why I explained this. Next. So stability of the eye. There are some ligaments. There is a ligament between the inferior rectus and inferior oblique. That's called the Lockwood ligament. That's called the that is the suspensory ligament of the eye that maintains its vertical balance. Then we have some ligaments, lateral rectus and medial rectus. They are called the check ligaments. They are called the check ligaments. And there is superiorly one more ligament that is between the tendon and the LPS tendon. That is called the ligament of Whitnall. Ligament of Whitnall. That is the superior rectus and LPS tendon. Mainly LPS tendon. The superior or facial connection. Next. So LPS is the other muscle. We know origin is same from the annulus, not in the annulus, but just near to it. Okay? So it arises from the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, just adjacent to the annulus of Zinn. Next. But it arises from the orbital apex only. Okay? But annulus of Zinn only 4 recta. Let's don't tell anything. LPS does not arise from annulus of Zinn. Don't remember that. So it arises from medial to the annulus of Zinn, from the lesser wing of the sphenoid. Next. Then it comes forward. Then once it comes forward, it goes above the superior rectus. And then it gets attached in 3 lamina. One is the second, other is the second, goes to the superior tarsal border. And third goes to the superior fornitional conjunctiva. It has 3 insertions. How many? 3. One is the second, that's voluntary. So we can raise the lid up. Voluntarily. Okay? And the second is the tarsal border, and third is the superior conjunctival fornix. 3 lamina. So second insertion is the voluntary, and second is the border of it, tarsal, that's involuntary, and third is the superior fornix of conjunctiva, that's also involuntary. The second one is supplied by the oculomotor nerve. The tarsal and superior fornicial attachment is supplied by the sympathetics. They are supplied by the sympathetics, which go from the internal carotid, and if they are paralysis, can cause Baramulla syndrome. Okay. So remember, the second one is supplied by the oculomotor, the middle and inferior, they are supplied by the sympathetics. Next. So ligaments, I have told you, check ligaments, suspensory ligament. Then one more is they are enclosed in the sheath. They are enclosed in the sheath. Each muscle is contained in a sheath, connected to a sheath. And these connected sheaths are interconnected all around the globe. What's called the intermuscular septum. That's called intermuscular septum. Next. One more is this Tennant's capsule. Have you heard about Tennant's capsule? So we have got both the conjunctiva and the Tennant's capsule to dissect a muscle. Why is the Tennant's capsule inserted? No, anterior. You study not oracillata. Mostly they are around the optic nerve. Anteriorly, why is this? Conjunctiva is inserted in the limbus. Okay, why the Tennant's capsule? 2 mm behind it. 2 mm behind it. So it's not inserted on the limbus, it's inserted 2 mm behind the limbus. So this is the levator aponeurosis. This is the levator aponeurosis. This is the retinal ligament. This is the Lockwood ligament. This is the medial canthal ligament, and this is the lateral canthal ligament. These are all facial extensions. Next. I have to finish this. It is a one topic given to me. I cannot leave it. It's very important to understand. It will not take you much time. Just 10 minutes. It is short. I will tell you brief. Next. So sensory adaptation. Sensory adaptation means what? Sensory adaptation means if there is skin, what adaptations the eye will take or the brain will take. So there are 2 types of sensory adaptations. First, it depends upon what is the abnormal visual stimulation and what is the severity of that abnormal stimulation and what is the type of binocular disruption. Suppose right eye may be blurred. Okay, so it is abnormal. How the eye will react to it, how the brain will react to it. Next. So there are macular visual adaptations. Macular means which occur after 8 or 9 years. Once the binocular vision or binocular orientation of the eyes has been already achieved. Now there is skin or strabismus. The eye moves in or eye moves out. What will happen? So there are 3 things what can happen. One is the diplopia, other is the confusion, and third is the retinal dry. These 3 things: diplopia, confusion, and retinal dry. Next. So these are the important things. Every point of the retina is sort of a corresponding. Because if we see with right eye, we have one image. If we see the left eye, we have one image. And these 2 images are fused by the occipital cortex into one image. Okay? So how does it happen? Because suppose I am seeing on suppose this leaf I am seeing. So it will affect by one point of the nasal retina of the right eye and temporal retina of the left eye. Okay? So those 2 points have become now corresponding points. So every point in the right eye corresponds to the left eye. Suppose nasal retina, it will become a corresponding point to the temporal retina of the left eye. You understand? So these are called the corresponding points. Now if there is some problem with these corresponding points, the person will have diplopia. Any of you can check like this. If we push the eyeball in, you will see start seeing double. Do it. No, not like this. Push the eyeball from laterally to in. On one side only, on one side. Okay, you can see a double. You understand? So this is the problem of the corresponding point alteration. When the corresponding points are altered, this happens. Next. So here you can see last point.
It's inside.
Suppose this is the object A. Object A. So it forms an image here A, and it forms an image here A. So this is temporal. This is nasal. No whispering. So this is the point. This is the corresponding point to this. I want silence, absolute silence, no confusion. If anybody wants to leave, he can leave. So this point is corresponding point to this. And this point is, suppose object B, this point is corresponding to this. So these corresponding points appear as single. They appear as single. Now if the eye deviates, next. Now if the eye deviates, suppose this eye, the right eye has deviated in. It has deviated in. What's called in deviation? No. It's called esotropy. It's called esotropy. And outward deviation, what's called?
Exotropy.
Exotropy. So here the eye has gone in. Eye has gone in. So this is the object. So it is falling on a non-corresponding point here. And this is falling on a corresponding macula here. So here it is falling on some other point. So as a result, there is diplopia. As a result, there is diplopia. So what is the definition of diplopia? So it is image 1. There is one image. There is one image falling on two non-corresponding points. Non-corresponding points and one image. Image is one. See, this is the one image, but these are not corresponding points because I have deviated in. I have deviated in. So these are two non-corresponding points, and it is giving rise to a diplopia. It is giving rise to diplopia. Now, what is the confusion? Suppose same eye. So this is the inward deviation. So this image is formed. This, suppose this image, it falls on the macula of this, and this image falls on the macula of this. Okay. So these are the corresponding points. These are the corresponding points. So these are two images. These are two images. These are in diplopia we have one image, but non-corresponding points. In confusion we have two images, but points are corresponding. You understand? Did you understand? No, you have not understood. No, you are not. Because there are two images. There are two images. I have not gone in. I have normal correspondence has gone, but this point is, suppose this point, this is corresponding to this point. These two are corresponding points. So this I sees this, and this I sees this, and this I sees this. So corresponding points, but two images. Corresponding points, but two images. So once one eye is, because they are falling on corresponding points, but because of the deviation, there is no the central region. So diplopia, again I will repeat. Diplopia has one image. Diplopia has one image, but two non-corresponding. Next, back. These are, suppose this is here falling and this is here falling. They are non-corresponding points. So we see diplopia. And here, this is the corresponding point, and this is the corresponding point, and this is the corresponding point. So if they do, but images are two. So one image stimulates one corresponding point, and one image stimulates another corresponding point. Because the eye is deviated in, that's why there is a change. That's why it is seeing two images on two corresponding points. Idea is that. So once this happens, so I will see like this. We can see like this. They will see a house with a tree like this. So there will be confusion. But I cannot understand whether this is a tree or this is a house. Next. So diplopia and confusion. There is one more thing. If the last slide. If the eye is turned in, it will have an uncrossed diplopia. If the eye is gone out, it will cause a crossed diplopia. What's crossed diplopia and what's uncrossed diplopia? Suppose this is the target. It is hitting here at the macula. This here it is hitting at the nasal part of the retina because eye is deviated in. So this nasal retina will project it to the temple. Okay? So it will have two. What's called uncrossed diplopia. Now if the eye is deviated out, this will form image on the temporal retina which will project it to the nasal. Okay? So it will be a crossed diplopia. So once the eye is deviated in, it will uncross diplopia. And once the eye is deviated out, it will cause a cross. Third, next. This is the retinal rivalry. This is called retinal rivalry. Retinal rivalry is suppose in one eye you give this, and other eye you will give this pattern. How the eye will see? I will see it like this cross pattern. Okay? Because I cannot understand whether it is coming from the right or left eye. So cortex does not understand. Cortex will interpret it like this. This is called retinal rivalry. Next. So now we have the immature system. Immature system is which occurs at a lesser age. There are three things in this. One is the suppression. Other is the amblyopia, and other is the monofixation syndrome. What is suppression? Suppression means suppose right eye is blurred, left eye is clear image, brain will ignore the right eye. It will suppress its image. So only the left eye image is seen. That's called suppression. Now if the suppression is constant, if it is constantly coming, so it will lead to amblyopia. What's amblyopia? Amblyopia means a decrease in the vision. You understand? Or form or whatever deprivation, that will lead to a decrease in vision. So suppression is continued, it will lead to amblyopia. Third is the monofixation syndrome. What's monofixation syndrome? This is because of inward deviation of the eye or outward deviation of the eye, the central macula becomes scotomatous. There is a central scotoma. In the center you cannot see. In the periphery you can see. This is called the monofixation syndrome. So we have to do some tests. So that we can come to know whether the patient is suffering from suppression or monofixation or diplopia or this. So I will tell you only two tests. One is called the Worth-4 test. One is called Worth-4 test. Other is called Bagolini's test. Worth-4 is the vision drum. That is displayed on the vision drum. And number 7, Bagolini's glasses. They are the straighted glasses. You come forward. So Bagolini's glasses are straighted glasses. They are straighted glasses. It has an angle. Like 45 and 155, like that. Yeah, 130. This is the Worth-4 test. This is the normal pattern. One red, two green, and one is white. It can appear alternately red, it can appear alternately green. So we dissociate the two eyes. We dissociate. How we dissociate the two eyes? By putting red on the right and green on the left. Red on the right and green on the left. Suppose there is now the suppression on the right. Okay? Only the left eye is seen. Left eye has a green glass. So it will, these two will appear green, plus this white will also appear green. So it will have three green circles. Okay? Now if the patient has a left suppression, so left eye is not seen, so right eye will see only this red and this red. So these two will be the red. Okay. Now if patient has a diplopia, so right eye will see these three green and right eye will see these two red, vertical two red, and left eye will see these three green. So there will be 5 seen. This is called diplopia. So this is the right suppression, because right eye is not seen, no red seen. So right suppression, this is left suppression, and this is the diplopia. So this Burford test, dot test is done on 2 distance levels. One is a 6 meter and other is near one. That's called 33 centimeters. How much? The idea of doing it as 33 centimeters is that you are looking at a monofixation syndrome. You are looking at a monofixation syndrome in which there is a central scotoma. There is a central scotoma. Because at 33 centimeters, monofixation will appear normal. And at 6 meters, that will appear as suppression. Okay. So like this. Suppose if we are taking at a distance of 6 meters, so it will appear as left suppression because it is a central scotoma. While if we put it at 33 centimeters, it will see a normal, like 2 red and 2 green. Okay? Because it will bypass the macula. The angle subtended and near will be away from the macula. Okay? So here it will fall directly on the macula and this will appear as a suppressor. Left will appear as a suppressor. Next. This is the last test. This is called the Bagolini's straighted glass test. It is same like the Burford dot test. Here, suppose if the person sees 2 lines like this is called orthophoria. This is called orthophoria or ARC. I will explain ARC. If it is a one eye suppressor, then it will see only one line. If it will be a monofixation, one line will be deficient at one point. That will be because of the central scotoma. If it will be a diplopia, it will appear V in esotropia. V means uncrossed diplopia. If it will be exotropia, it will appear as a A. It will appear as a A. That means a crossed diplopia. That will be a crossed diplopia. Next. So before this, I will explain you this last slide.
ARC.
ARC. What is ARC? What is ARC? ARC is one of the immature. That is one of the immature adaptations, sensory adaptations. That is anomalous retinal correspondence. Anomalous retinal correspondence. That means one is acting as a fovea. One is acting as a eye is deviated. Eye is deviated. Now brain is keeping some other focus of the eye as fovea. That's called pseudophobia. Brain interprets it as fovea. That's called anomalous retinal correspondence. Like this. Suppose this point acts as a fovea. Actually fovea is this. Actually fovea is this, but this point acts as a fovea. This is called pseudophobia. This is called pseudophobia. There is one more term in ophthalmology that is called eccentric fixation. Eccentric fixation. There is also a pseudophobia in that. How you will differentiate between the two? You can differentiate like that. If you cover one eye, in case of anomalous retinal corner, eye will move. In eccentric fixation, eye will not. Okay. So this was pseudophobia. Because there is some phobia is still active here, but brain is interpreting some other point as pseudophobia. That's why eye is moving. In eccentric fixation, pseudophobia becomes a permanent phobia. So eye is not moving on recovery. The difference is this. So this is the difference between the anomalous retinal correspondence and the eccentric fixation. Then last slide we have the motor. This is the last slide. Don't be impatient. Once I am telling this last slide, this last slide. So there is compensatory head position. There are compensatory head positions like a head tilt, chin up, and the face turn, So because of these things, you compensate the already a blurred image. You understand? These are called motor adaptations. They are called motor adaptations. Normally, if you see what is the difference between humans and animals or birds and this, they have eyes on two sides. They don't have binocular vision. And number second, we have a good amount of where the fields, suppose 60 or 70% of the field is binocular, which is getting overlapped. 30% is only used. Okay, and we don't have turn. Suppose our field of vision is this much almost, or this much. We don't have turn for seeing. In animals, it's not like that. They have turn to see everything. Did you understand? What is the advantage of having a binocular vision? Depth perception. Suppose there are 2 points. One slightly anterior and one slightly posterior. Or angle of one is anterior and angle of one is posterior. That's called depth perception. What is the term used for depth perception? Stereopsis. What is it?
Stereopsis.
So the idea of having a binocular vision is having a good stereopsis. This is a separate topic. How you practice stereopsis. That's a very long thing. Not for your standard. So then there comes a thank you.